Yo, what's going on?
The team reunited, hey, we're back. We're back, baby. Corona couldn't hold us down. Hope you're all well. Coming into you live from Ads' house tonight. What an interesting night to be a trader.
Absolutely.
It's Ferg's shout out to you, saying you're out of a lot of your old positions. We spoke about this, the crazy Thursday night volatility that we got. I admittedly was still in a couple of positions, like one position earlier this morning that I cut. Very, very glad I did. Ads, what is going on here? We've hit that top supply there, rejected pretty harshly. One thing that was, how do we annotate on this? Can we annotate on this?
Yeah, like this.
See, I'm not on my own computer. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we were talking about this sort of double top yesterday as well. That those M tops and those W bottoms that we see, and that was a pretty clear cut M top. Even though we were making those higher highs, and we spoke about it on Tuesday that we quite hadn't made a lower low as of yet. This was still sort of a healthy uptrend, if you would. But certainly after today's events, this is a devastating pullback. And I think it was on Tuesday night. Not that it was my TA, but that we've been seeing people on Twitter speaking about 16.2, sort of 16.4 with an aggressive pullback. I certainly didn't think we'd get there this quick.
Yeah, look, yesterday in the yesterday in the daily update, I was really excited about we're having these higher highs coming up to this all-time high. However, one thing that I did point out, and I really made a point of it, was we needed to wait for this level of supply to either break or be respected. And I really made a point of we need to really see if this is going to move up and close above this level of supply before we even get excited about levels above it. So it's good to see that we were respected and we have moved down and we have made a lower low now on this time frame without a doubt, and pushing through this level of demand here. However, we are closing, or we are looking to be respected on top of this level just now, but we are getting some decent selling pressure as it stands coming down towards this level of demand here. So it's going to be interesting. Are we going to continue down to that 16K level and retest some of these really, really low quality short-term levels of demand, or are we going to continue and hold this level to, is this going to be the retest? Is this going to really hold us and give us that opportunity to buy in before we get back up to all-time high again, Todd?
Of these levels, though, which is the most significant in your opinion in terms of the demand zone? What is the highest quality from that, do you think?
To really answer that, we need to go to the daily time frame and really see where we're sitting. And the level that is coming up right now isn't too bad. However, if we're talking about high-quality stuff, there isn't anything high quality in this region at all, because these are just very short snap pullbacks. Not even, and these are a 4-hour lower time frame pullbacks where we see here, here, and here, and they don't form really anything decent. If we're talking about high quality, we're talking down here. We're talking at around 12, right? But all that aside, if I were to pick one on, let's say, a 4-hour time frame to give us a little bit more data, I would honestly be looking towards the one that we've got here, just underneath, of course, at 16, and down here again at 14. They're the two levels that really stand out to me because we've got a very sharp pullback here and then a movement out of that zone. And I'll clear the chart a little bit. And then here we've got a little bit of a pullback to give us, that bounce off that trend line and continuing to the upside. So those are the two levels that I'm really looking towards. The one in between is really short term at 15K, at about 15.2. But the other two are looking okay, especially as we've got that retest to the right-hand side on the bottom one as well. So that would be the ones I'm looking at. Are we going to get there? That remains to be seen. There's a decent amount of selling pressure now coming through this level of demand, and it's really showing that this level is being broken. So we're looking towards the one underneath it, which is at 16K, and we're going to make a decision, I think, at that time.
one thing that is interesting that we've been speaking about our Unicon indicator a fair bit. If we put Unicon on this, we got our first sort of bearish cross since early November, since the 5th of November, which was significant. So that was an interesting thing. And I think if we put on our VPVR, I'd be interested to sort of see where the volume is of here. Yeah. We can see there's a pretty big volume gap there between that previous demand that we've just broken through, the one that we're at now, and then we can start seeing the cluster of volume nodes there that sort of start to line up with our point of control being back down towards that 15.2, that 15.3 sort of level. So I think between that 16.2 level and 15.4 will be very significant in terms of holding any sort of zone in this sort of region. But I was just saying to ads before I jumped on, and it never is financial advice that we give, but I think having a capital allocation to buy very significant dips like this is an idea, because we know these 25-30% pullbacks are not necessarily uncommon in crypto, particularly after such a big run up. So if you've got that capital reserve on the side, now is certainly the time to look at what you want to be doing with that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're looking at if you're employing the strategy that we really teach in UTG and we really stand by, you're looking at these levels of demand and you're looking at your indicators now that they are a little bit cooled off, and you're looking to see, okay, where can I look at averaging in for the next movement to the upside? Is there going to be a next movement to the upside in the way of pushing us past that all-time high? Well, we've had decent momentum in the past, or up until this point, to the upside, so it's certainly a possibility. If we move out to the daily, before we move on, I really want to look at the daily time frame. And so what I said about that higher quality supply is really holding true with the VPVR, because we're looking at this sort of movement. See, just to the right of the screen, there's not much liquidity there on that VPVR in this entire region to the upside. So that's what I'm more referring to. If we're looking for a validation of this daily time frame demand level in terms of a high quality one, that's really a good testament to that. But looking at the weekly chart now, we are still quite overbought even with that drop. So it hasn't really reacted quite well on Steamroller just yet. However, we're looking at the 50 now immediately on the RSI, and we're back down into the parallel channel, back into the band for the CCI. So it could be an interesting one. Are we going to hold here? It remains to be seen. We know in terms of a bull market, with the RSI usually holds above the 50 RSI. That usually acts as a point of support for the RSI level. Oops, my bad. So it usually acts as a point of support for the RSI level on the daily time frame. So we are really now just waiting to see if we test some of these levels underneath. And the ones I'm looking at right now, again, 16K, and pending that, we'll be looking towards 15.2.
Yeah, for a little bit of added confluence, we can see that our EMAs, our major EMAs being our 50, 100, and 200 are starting to correlate around this region as well. We've since busted through this one. So yeah, this region, again, so we've sort of got our demand here, we've got our volume nodes, and we've got some pretty decent structure here to the left that could potentially hold us up around this sort of area. So the next 24 hours are going to be pretty interesting.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll give the controls back to you. Let's have a look. Maybe it might be worth having a look at the BTC dominance at the moment as well, and see what's happening with that.
Well, the BTC dominance, we've been having a decent pullback from its run, from around 58, and the pullback is really attributed to a lot of these altcoins moving to the upside. So that's good for the alts. It's not right now, of course, because most of them are pulling back pretty harshly with BTC coming down as well. So naturally we're having a little bit of a run to the upside with BTC dominance. However, we have moved through that level of demand now with quite force. So it's going to be an interesting one over the next little bit. If I had to draw in another level to really give us something to look at underneath, it would be roughly around that 60% 0.4% area for that level of demand. So it's going to be interesting one if this is going to be at a lower low and we're going to form a lower high. So we had that higher high, we haven't made a lower low now. Are we going to get that lower high and then continue to the downside? Well, we're going to have to wait and see if BTC cools off, wait till it simmers a little bit, and see if those alts start to recover in the right direction, Ty, I reckon.
Yeah. All right, let's have a look at ETH. It's having some pretty crazy swings as we talk right now on the shorter time.
ETH in general, yes, it is. It's had a decent movement to the downside. We have broken through that 50 RSI. We have moved down past through that parallel channel on the CCI, and of course, Steamroller is giving us that fierce movement to the downside also. If I get rid of this level now and draw in a very, very short-term area there, we're looking at around 479, 480 for Ethereum USD on the 4-hour time frame, and I think we'll get there pretty soon.
In terms of percentage drop, what has that been from that?
Percentage drop from that level of supply down to where we are currently, that's a 22% pullback, and that, honestly, that's very healthy. And the thing with BTC is we've been saying this for quite some time. You can't have parallel movements to the upside. That run to the upside relentlessly without a decent correction. So this is what we're seeing now. This is healthy for a movement to the upside. Don't get me wrong. We're not here saying that BTC, Ethereum, this is done, we're finished. Welcome and bring back 10K. However, something that's been running from pretty much 9K to 19 needs a little bit of a cool off, and that's what we're seeing now, and this is extremely healthy. So it's going to be very interesting to see over the next little bit where Ethereum and BTC end up in the way of these major levels of demand before we see some more buying volume and more movements to the upside, I reckon.
Well, isn't it ironic that less than 24 hours ago we were celebrating BTC all-time highs and everyone was very euphoric and the bulls were out in force, and then 24 hours later, we're on our knees to the crypto gods once again. So very interesting 24 hours in crypto land. But we were having this discussion over dinner beforehand about PayPal and how they've increased their buying limits to retail traders. Retail traders are the ones that are buying. Coinbase has just sort of disintegrated their leverage buying opportunities over in the States as well. So you can tell there was a lot of retail interest at these sort of levels. And the second that we broke towards that all-time high, the retail interest would have been higher than what it would have ever been for a long time. So hopefully this hasn't turned too many people or too many new entrants away from crypto, but it just goes to show that we're at the mercy of the people who control this market, who are a lot bigger players than all of us.
Absolutely. Look, like I said, I'm reading some of these comments now. Is it going to go up? Should I keep it? Look, we can't make financial decisions for you. We're not financial advisors, nor do we claim to be. However, this is a correction phase. Like I said, we can't go from 9,000 to nearly 20K without having a decent correction. A correction is healthy for any uptrend. Any uptrend, any upwards movement, there needs to be a correction. It needs to have a pullback for every push. We've had small bits and pieces along the way. However, a bigger one like this is naturally healthy. You could probably see anywhere between a 20 to 30% pullback in this in a short time. But this needs to happen, and we've been saying it needs to happen for quite some time. So it's going to be an interesting one. We will keep everyone updated as it comes, though.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm not quite sure if these comments are serious, Jan. I'm sorry, mate, if that's actually the case. Depends on what you lost $1,000 on, or you used bots or whatever it is. Jump into the Discord and we can have a chat with you privately about that. But you've really got to have this. Are you an investor or are you a trader? You've got to go back to that old school mentality that we spoke about a number of years ago. If you feel like BTC or ETH is going to continue up, then you can look at a dollar cost averaging strategy to sort of bring your overall buying price down a little bit and continue to hold while things pipe up. If you really think that the devastation is going to continue, then you could look at layering sells on the way down. It's totally up to you. We can't tell you what you should or shouldn't do, but certainly if you're using bots, there's certain circumstances where bots will work, and you really have to have a lot of knowledge of how they work, and this is the guy to tell you or to help you how to do it. So jump into the Discord and tag us. We can certainly help you if you want some guidance. We can never give you advice, but I'm very sorry if that's the case that you lost that money, mate.
All right, moving on, however, what do we want to look at?
I think it's interesting. We need to have a look at XRP because it's been in the headlines a lot lately. Massive moves on XRP. Someone was just saying it was down to 40 something cents. So you can see there the validity of supply and demand. We tagged that demand to an absolute T. Wicked up. There's a little bit of buying pressure there at the moment. That triangle didn't break to the upside this time. We're here at this demand zone. What's the play, do we think?
Look, for XRP, this as well has been a decent correction, and it has been needed. We're looking at the 1 hour time frame. We'll go back to the 4 hour. So I drew this yesterday, I believe, and I did put this part of the daily update yesterday as well. If you haven't checked it out, you can check it out on our channel. But this was the area that I'm looking at for a decent pullback for XRP, as long as it has been quite overbought for quite some time now. But that playing out to an absolute T, which is good. What I'm waiting for now is we really need BTC to simmer a little bit. We really need to get some stability in BTC before we even talk about where the altcoins are going to be going.
Yeah.
Because if BTC continues its descent or continues some movement to the downside in terms of a correction, it's just going to pull these altcoins further down.
Yeah, totally. And we spoke about it on Tuesday about not necessarily alt seasons, but these alt storms, whatever it is that you want to call it, these temporarily alt periods. The seasons or the times for trading altcoins are getting shorter and shorter and shorter as more interest in BTC and ETH starts to come, especially through public or retail sort of sentiment. So if you are holding altcoins, you've got to be very cautious of the ones that you're holding and the time lengths that you're holding them for, or certainly have a strategy in play or a plan in order to be able to trade these coins, understanding the correlation between BTC when BTC runs or declines. A couple of questions that we're getting about here. Has it ever collapsed this quickly? Yeah, absolutely it has, Wellerman. It's collapsed this quickly many times before. 25-30% drops are not out of the norm for BTC in whether it be short-term or very short-term timeframes like this. And look at it, the overall scheme of things. We had this run from 9.8 to 10 up to 19,000 towards all-time highs. A 20% pullback, we're still at a very high level of price for BTC, which in the grand scheme of things is, I guess, a healthy correction if you want to call that. So it's a matter of where things are going to hold to understand whether this correction is a short-term blip on the radar, we continue back up towards all-time highs, or whether we sort of start cascading back down towards that 15, 13, 12, 10 region, which I think is a bit of a stretch at this point. So when BTC is doing things like this, you really need to be very much aware of any other positions that you're in, whether they're worth holding, and let BTC dictate what the market is going to do. Don't make rash decisions based on 20 or 30% drops or 10% drops or whatever it is. This is a shakeout. This is a shakeout of people who are buying towards that all-time high, and the weak hands now will be capitulating. So wait to see what BTC does, and then make your decision on what other coins you might want to enter or what you want to do with your positions when BTC gives you an idea of the continued direction, whether it be down or back up again. All right, altcoins. We're not even going to look at altcoins. Altcoins, it's an absolute destruction at the moment, whether it be BTC or USD pairs. Again, the same thing applies with any sort of altcoin. Wait for BTC to give you an idea of direction. There certainly will be, in my opinion, some really good buying opportunities on alts, whether that be over the weekend or whether it be early next week. But certainly at this point, I am out of all trades. I'm not in any positions right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm exactly the same. It really needs a little bit of a cool off. We need some hours to go past, and we need to see what happens with Bitcoin before we even talk or even suggest anything with altcoins at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to see so many comments and all the questions coming through tonight as well, guys. Please ask anything that you like or join us in the Discord. All right, let's have a look at the DXY. I think looking at the regulated markets is going to be very interesting at the moment to see what's happening. Of course, when it comes to the DXY, Forex or anything like that, purely just opinion only. This is not financial advice. Talk to your financial advisor if you want to know more.
All right, so the DXY is the US dollar currency index. We look at this every single daily update and every single live stream as well, because it does dictate some of the movements and some of the correlation between BTC. Of course, it is the USD. It's really judging the strength of the USD, and BTC is paired against what? The USD. So this is what we need to look at. With the USD, it's been really predictable over the last little bit. We have been observing the DXY coming down and making these lower highs and lower lows. So nothing has changed just yet. If we see, some movement on the DXY towards the upside, tonight over the course of tonight's trading session. I'd be looking more towards this 23.6 at 92.44 to really gauge our level of upside, and it really could come tonight as a bit of relief for the DXY, as Steamroller is quite low, and of course so is some of our other indicators that we look at also. So relief is on the cards, and BTC could be the catalyst for the DXY, giving us some more upside momentum. So that's what I'm looking at for the immediate term. However, on the grand scale of things, on the macro scale, if we're looking on an overall macro scale of things in terms of a higher time frame movement, I'm still looking towards that 91.6 or 91.7 area for the DXY to really give us some direction, Ty.
Yeah, and again, that 27 extension acting as that little bit of support, so we might end up seeing a bit of a bearish retest of that 92%, that 92 level before heading back down towards that bottom demand zone. So again, interesting times for the reg markets and also BTC as well. Now, if you guys want to know anything more about this, head to unitytradinggroup.com, hit that subscribe button. We do this every single night. All the great questions are coming through. So I just want to just focus on you, Jan, for a second. You've used DCA bots. If it goes back, I can still make money, but if it continues to go down, I can't retrieve ads. What are your thoughts just on bots real quick, because you're the bot guy?
Okay, so DCA, in terms of bots in general, so I'm going to give you a blanket thing on GOTS. Oh, sorry, on GOTS. On bots. Sorry. On GOTS.
Bots.
Look, bots have their place. In the way of market trends, you really need to gauge the market trend for a bot to work. What I mean by that is, if I bring on something like our trend breaker on a higher time frame, everything in green, for example, is a good time for a bot to be active. But you really need to learn your technical analysis and gauge whether the market is overextended or not. In the way of overextended, I mean times like now, where we could have a decent pullback or a decent recovery, decent correction for BTC. And if that happens, you need to be preemptive about that. You need to be able to give yourself that judgment to turn the bot off when you think that it needs to be switched off. Are we expecting a correction soon? Of course we are. We've gone from 9,000 to 19,000 in the course of a month and a bit.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to your personal judgment, and you need to be very, very aware that stuff like this can happen, and it can ruin your bot immediately.
So yeah, and that's why, and we've used Profit Trailer in the past.
Yes.
And the more simplified the bot strategy is, that can often yield better returns than having these very complex, convoluted strategies that you employ into a box. So, for example, you might do a MACD strategy, you might do an EMA cross strategy, like a 10 and a 20 or a 9 and 21 EMA cross strategy, and it shuts off when the EMA is crossed. But you've got to have a simplified strategy when it comes to bots, and understand the overall direction as to how you're going to be using them to make money.
Absolutely. And bots are something that needs to be researched, something that needs your time investment, and it really needs a decent strategy behind it before you even switch it on to a live market. You really need to be paper trading these. You need to be testing these extensively over a long period of time to really get yourself used to it, and get yourself to learn how the market works and when the bot should be switched on and switched off.
Yeah, exactly right. Like with our Unicon indicator, which we've got there, ads, if you want to turn that on, and we spoke about beforehand, that could be something that's very, very simple. Your bot will activate on the green and sell on the red, and it sort of helps to eliminate a little bit of risk. For those who are asking about the red and green signals, that's our steamroller, that's our custom indicator. You can head to unitytradinggroup.com if you want to learn a little bit more about that. That's one of our indicators that all of our members use, that we use to identify oversold and overbought regions on strategies. But listen, you don't need our indicators or anything to trade. They're just there as tools to help us along with our TA. But head to unitytradinggroup.com and come into our Discord. Everything we provide, all our guides, everything we do is 100% free. And we're in there every single day. We're not selling courses or guides or anything like that. Everything's free by the few indicator packs that we have there, which you can see on the screen. So I think without further ado, that might wrap it up. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Great to see so many people on there and asking lots of questions. If anybody has any further questions or you want to ask about certain things in this environment, like I said, come to the Discord and ping Tex or ads, we are always there, and we have the most incredible group of people in this community that are always willing to put their hand up and help you out. So don't stress. This is a normal occurrence in BTC or in cryptocurrency. These pullbacks are not uncommon, unfortunately, but it's how you react to the market that will help you preserve dollars or preserve sats. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you. We do this every single night, so come and join us tomorrow night as we do it all over again. Hit that subscribe button. We look forward to seeing you next time. All of our links are in the description down below, so if you want to find us there, you can. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.